Welcome back. In this video, we will discuss about other types of cell organelles. Those are vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, ribosomes, and as well as lysosomes. So, as a part of that, today we will discuss about the first cell organelle, that is vacuoles. So, what are vacuoles, and what is the structure of vacuoles? In which type of organisms they are present, and what is the specific function of the vacuole, and how it is made up of. Those details we will see in detail. So vacuole is a reservoir. It is a reservoir. That means, what is the function of a reservoir? It will store water. Like that, this vacuole stores something. So what is that? We will see in detail. Okay, it acts as a reservoir, and it is surrounded by selectively permeable membrane. Selectively permeable membrane. So that membrane name is tonoplast. That membrane is tonoplast. Okay, now we will see how many types of vacuoles are there, which type is present in which type of organism. So that details we will see now. So if you take Monera, in Monera kingdom, the vacuoles are present, and those type is known as gas vacuoles. So what is gas vacuole? Gas vacuole is nothing but a membrane bound space in which anything will be stored. So here in gas vacuole, it is filled, the space is filled with gas. So the cell occupies most of the position by vacuole. So if air is present, and if air is filled entirely in the vacuole, what will happen? That will help the organism to float in the water. Like if you are swimming, if you are learning the swimming, we will wear some tubes which is filled with air. So like that, here the gas vacuoles, it is filled with air. So that helps the organism to float in the water. So that phenomena is known as buoyancy. That means phenomena of floating on water. So the examples for this is cyanobacteria. It is also known as blue-green algae. It is also known as blue-green algae. And going to the next type of vacuoles. In protists, kingdom Protista, we can see two types of vacuoles. Those are contractile vacuoles and food vacuoles. So what is the function of contractile vacuole? In which type of organisms they are present? And in the same manner, what is the function of food vacuole, and in which type of organisms they are present? We will see now. The contractile vacuoles are present in protozoans. Protozoan is a group of organisms that present in kingdom Protista. So the contractile vacuole are present in some protozoans. Example, amoeba. Example is amoeba. So here, what is the function? The function of contractile vacuoles is mostly osmoregulation. The function of contractile vacuole is here osmoregulation. So what is meant by osmoregulation? Osmoregulation means the maintenance of water levels, and the water and salt, that means NaCl, KCl, different types of salts are there present in the body. So that should be maintained in proper levels. So this maintenance, the balance between the water content and the salt content in the body, that is maintained by the contractile vacuoles in protozoans. So water salt balance. Okay, and one more thing, these organisms are present in water, so they will take excess amounts of water into the body. So what happened? They are single celled organisms. If they have taken excessive amounts of water, the cell become swell and finally it will rupture. So the whole organism will be died. So to prevent that, it eliminates the excess amount of water from the cells. So this is also a function of the contractile vacuoles present in protozoans. And one more. Here, food vacuoles. These food vacuoles are present in remaining protista animals, and these food vacuoles contains digestive enzymes. So you can understand what is the use of digestive enzymes. They will digest the food materials. So from this point we can know that the food vacuoles helpful in the digestion of food in the remaining protista. So these are some types of contractile vacuoles, and mainly now we have to compare the vacuoles present in plant cells and animal cells. These are higher kingdoms present in 5 kingdom classification. So now we have to compare the structure and function of vacuoles in plant and animal cells. Okay, as we discussed in the first video, I had mentioned about the differences between the vacuole of plant cell and animal cell. So here I am drawing a plant cell, and here I am drawing animal cell. As we discussed earlier, in plant cell the vacuole occupies the major portion of the cell and it throws the nucleus to the periphery. So the major portion of the plant cell is occupied by vacuole. Okay, and here in animal cell the nucleus present at the center and the vacuoles are more in number but they are smaller in size. And in plant cell the only one vacuole, that too it is very large in size and occupies the major portion of the plant cell. Okay, now this is about the structure of the plant vacuole and animal vacuoles. And now regarding function, in plant cells the vacuole helps in maintaining the hydrostatic pressure because they are absorbing more water. Each and every cell has high amounts of water. So due to high amounts of water the cell may rupture, because if it is more amount of water is entering into the body, the cell wall cannot persist the pressure. So avoiding the pressure that is affected on the cell membrane or the cell wall, the membrane of the vacuole, that is tonoplast, protects the cell by decreasing the or maintaining in balance the hydrostatic pressure. Okay, and here in animal cell no that much storage of water because the water almost it is stored in the cytoplasm, so no need of that. But here in animal cell it stores some ions, some minerals and some food materials. So this is the difference between the function exhibited by the vacuoles present in plant cells and the vacuoles present in the animal cells. Okay, clear? And now one more important point with respect to the NEET exam. They will ask that the vacuoles stores some types of pigments. So that pigment is anthocyanin. So this may be the important question in NEET point of view. Okay, so here what happened? The only two cell organelles in the total cell structure, they are storing the pigments. So the first most important cell organelle is chloroplasts. So they have pigments, chlorophyll, and that is helpful for the photosynthesis. And here another cell organelle that have pigment is vacuoles, and that pigment is anthocyanin. Okay, so they can ask the question like that: which of the following is the cell organelle which has pigments? So they can give the combination question: chloroplast and mitochondria, chloroplast and vacuoles, chloroplast and ribosomes, chloroplast and Golgi complex. Like that they can ask. So the correct answer is the chloroplast and vacuoles. So this is about the structure and function of vacuoles. Now we will see the another cell organelle, that is endoplasmic reticulum. What is endoplasmic reticulum? Where it is present and how many types, and what is the structure and what is the function of endoplasmic reticulum, that we will see now. Okay, this endoplasmic reticulum is nothing but a tubular structures. See here I am drawing the structure of a cell, and here we have nucleus. Nucleus, as I told you previously, it is double membrane and having the pores in between. Those pores are internuclear spaces. Okay, now this endoplasmic reticulum is nothing but the continuation of the outer membrane of, for example, this is the outer membrane of the nucleus, and the endoplasmic reticulum is a tubular structure, nothing but the extensions from the outer membrane. For example, this is the outer membrane of the nucleus. It will come like this. The tubular structures which are the extension of the outer membrane. For example, here also we can see the one more endoplasmic reticulum like this. Okay, these are the tubular structures, extension of the outer membrane of nucleus. Okay, now how many types of endoplasmic reticulum? There are two types. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. The first one is rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the second one is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So you have to observe the difference between rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Here come to the structure. These tubules, at some places they have ribosomes. Those are also another type of cell organelles we will discuss later. The ribosomes present on the surface of the tubular structures of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so due to the presence of these structures in microscope, they are appearing as a rough structures. So they are called as rough endoplasmic reticulum, because due to presence of ribosomes. Nothing is there. Very simple. Due to presence of ribosomes, we are calling it as a rough endoplasmic reticulum. And here in smooth endoplasmic reticulum, there are tubular structures which does not have the ribosomes. This is the one and important difference between rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, now with respect to the functions, actually the ribosomes are involved in protein synthesis. We will discuss protein synthesis. So indirectly the rough endoplasmic reticulum is concerned or belongs to the function of protein synthesis. Okay, due to presence of ribosomes on it. And then when coming to smooth endoplasmic reticulum, those are involved in lipid synthesis, and some studies are telling that they are also helpful in synthesis of some hormones also. Okay, these are the functions of rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and this is the structure. Okay, now we are going to next cell organelle, that is Golgi apparatus. Next cell organelle is Golgi apparatus or Golgi complex. Here, this cell organelle is discovered by a scientist whose name is Camillo Golgi. So, by the name of him, they assigned to this cell organelle, that is Golgi apparatus. Okay. Now, we will see the structure first of all, where it is present, where the Golgi apparatus is present, and what is the function of that, we will see. One thing we have to remember, the Golgi apparatus always lies in close association with the endoplasmic reticulum. This is endoplasmic reticulum, and this is always associated Golgi apparatus is always associated with endoplasmic reticulum. So what is the need of association between these two types of cell organelles? Because here we will discuss. First of all, we will see the structure. The outer convex shape, these are known as cis form or forming phase. This is known as convex phase or cis phase or forming phase. And inner side, this one is concave or trans phase or maturing phase. See here, the outer convex and the inner concave. Okay, and here we have another endoplasmic reticulum. Here also we will have Golgi complex. So wherever the endoplasmic reticulum is there we can expect the presence of Golgi apparatus. Understanding? So now we will see the function. So why it is in close association with that? So what is the function? What is the connectivity between these two? That we will see. Here we believed that some materials are formed by the endoplasmic reticulum, but those materials are not fully matured. For example, if some types of medicines are there, capsules, they kept that medicine in the capsule. So what happened? We cannot take that medicine directly. That's why we are keeping that in the capsule. So that's why, like that, the immature substances has to be packaged before they are delivered to the target organs. So for that packaging purpose, the materials which are secreted from the endoplasmic reticulum, they are entered into the Golgi apparatus. Here the packaging takes place to avoid the damage of that material. Okay, so after the packaging, slowly that will be secreted outside. The packaged material will be secreted outside. So if we were discussing the functions of Golgi apparatus, the main function we have to remember is packaging. packaging of materials. So after packaging, that material can be transported within the cell or outside the cell. So two kinds. That material can be transported to the other regions of the cell itself, or it can be transported to the other cells. So two types of transports. And second function is glycosylation of lipids and proteins. See here, in rough endoplasmic reticulum, proteins are synthesizing, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, lipids are synthesizing. Okay, if they are not packed, if the structure is covered by another structure, they cannot be survive much more longer in the cell. So that's why here, for example, this is the lipid and this is the protein. So here glycosylation means covering the lipid, covering the protein with an carbohydrate, so that the inside material, that is lipid or protein, will be safe. So that's for, and it is easy for the transport also if it is surrounded by the carbohydrate. So that's why in Golgi apparatus it is performing glycosylation of proteins, glycosylation of lipids, and also the packaging of other materials. Okay, and one more other important function of the Golgi apparatus is it helps in the formation of other cell organelle, that is lysosomes. We can also mention that as primary lysosomes. So what is the function of lysosome? What is the structure? We will see in next topic. Okay. So here the Golgi apparatus is helpful in the formation of primary lysosomes. This is the structure and function of Golgi apparatus. Okay. Now we will see the structure and functions of another cell organelle, that is ribosomes. These are also very important. Ribosomes. Ribosomes are also called as protein factories. Protein factories. Why this name was given? Protein factories. That means they are helpful in the synthesis of proteins. See, we know that proteins are the building blocks of our body. If proteins are not there, this much body is not formed. Okay, so that's why these proteins are synthesized by a special cell organelle, that is ribosomes. Ribosomes are small strained structures, small round structures, which are not, here we can, not surrounded by any membrane. Okay, and ribosomes contains only ribonucleoproteins, that is RNA and proteins. Nothing else in that structure. Only RNAs and proteins. That's it. Okay, and how the proteins are formed, and how many types of ribosomes are there, and which organisms has which type of ribosomes, that we will see now. Ribosomes are mainly two types, that is 70S type and 80S type. So we will see what is S. So this S is nothing but very important, that is Svedberg unit, or Svedberg units, or sedimentation coefficient. So these units are actually depend upon the size and density of the ribosomal structures. So here 70S has some size and some density, and 80S has 80 ribosomes have some type of density and some size. Okay, depend upon that they had given the units, that is Svedberg unit. Okay, and again the 70S type contains subunits also. The subunit of 70S ribosomes are two, that is again 30S and 50S. And the subunit of 80S ribosomes are again two. Those are 40S and 60S. This is the structure of ribosomes. They present like this. This is 30S subunit and this is 50S subunit. This is 40S subunit and this is 60S subunit. And overall this is 80S type and this is 70S type of ribosomes. Getting the point? Okay, this is about the types of ribosomes and where they are present and which type of organisms have which type of ribosomes. This is also very important. These are fundamentals, you have to clear it now itself. Okay, now in prokaryotes they have only 70S type. There is no question of 80S type in prokaryotes. And in eukaryotes have both 70S type and 80S type. Both they are having. Where the 80S type is present? They are present in the cytoplasm. They are present in the cytoplasm and they are present on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. As we discussed earlier, they are present in the cytoplasm and rough endoplasmic reticulum. But the 70S type are present in chloroplasts and mitochondria. Yesterday, when we are discussing about the mitochondria and chloroplast, I discussed that they are semi-autonomous cell organelles. That means they are having their own DNA and they are having their own protein machinery. How the proteins are synthesizing? Here the doubt was clarified. So that proteins are synthesized due to the presence of ribosomes. Which type of ribosomes? 70S type. That's why we are calling mitochondria and chloroplasts as semi-autonomous cell organelles. Okay, mainly the function of the ribosomes are protein synthesis. And this is the structure and these are the types of ribosomes and in which organisms they are present in detail we discussed. Okay, now we will go into the next type of cell organelle, that is lysosomes. These are also a vesicular structures surrounded by single membrane. Lysosomes are present in all eukaryotes. Except matured RBC. As you know that the red blood cells at primary stage, at early stages, they have nucleus, they have all other cell organelles. But after the maturation of the red blood cell, they lost even nucleus also. Understanding? Nucleus is absent, endoplasmic reticulum is absent, Golgi apparatus is absent. Here lysosomes are also absent. Okay. And they are absent in all prokaryotes. In all prokaryotes, lysosomes are absent. Okay, and what is the structure and what are present inside the lysosomes, we will see in detail. So lysosome is a vesicular body, and inside we have so many hydrolases. These are enzymes, hydrolytic enzymes. What are those? Lipases, proteases, carbohydrates. That means lipases are the enzymes which digest lipids or fats, and proteases are the enzymes that will digest the proteins, and carbohydrates are the enzymes which will digest the carbohydrates. Okay, and these enzymes are very active at acidic pH. That means they have the nature of acidity. Okay, so these are all the enzymes present here. And what is the main role of lysosomes? They are acting as a hydrolytic cell organelles. That means they will digest other cell organelles also. For example, where the significance of lysosomes? For example, if we discuss the functions of lysosomes, for example, here egg cell is there, and sperm has to come, and the sperm has to penetrate into the egg cell. Then only they will fuse together and zygote will be formed. So for rupturing of this membrane, this is the dense membrane, so it has to rupture the membrane and it has to go inside. So that's why these lysosomes have a special enzyme, that is hyaluronidase. This is the enzyme which helps in breaking this membrane and facilitates the movement of the sperm into the egg cell. So it has the ability of penetrating, and it dissolves the outer membrane or breaking down the outer membrane. This is the significance of lysosome. And for example, another function in our body, if you don't know, but you had taken some chemical, by mistake you had taken some chemicals into your body. So of course that chemical, if it is an carcinogen, that means if it is causing cancer, so in our body the lysosomes help us to protect from that carcinogen by engulfing it. For example, the carcinogen or cancer causing chemical entered into our body, that means entered in our cells. So these lysosomes takes that carcinogen and break down. So it will try to protect our body from that harmful chemicals. And for example, in some types our cell was infected, so we have to destroy that cell. So at that time what will happen? These hydrolyses will be released by the lysosomes and they will digest other cell organelles, like mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum. That means a cell is digesting its own cell materials, its own cell organelles. That is, the phenomena is known as autophagy. That means it is digesting its own material. Auto means self, phagy means digesting. Okay, that's why we can call the lysosomes as suicidal bags of a cell. That means it is helpful in digesting the own cell by releasing these hydrolytic enzymes. So this phenomena is known as autophagy, and lysosomes are exhibiting the phenomena of autophagy. That's why we are calling these cell organelles as suicidal bags. Okay, these are the different functions of the lysosomes. In the next video, we will discuss about other cell organelles like glyoxysomes, peroxisomes, and other cell organelles like cilia, flagella, etc. Thank you so much.